Hey everyone, welcome to the vlog. My name is Jason Bell, and boy do I have a treat for you guys. I just got back from Las Vegas, Nevada, where I played in multiple sessions. Have lots of vlogs lined up for you guys. In this first one here, I played 2-5 at Bellagio, where I bought in for the $500 max. Hope you guys enjoy. Please like and subscribe. Here we go. Okay, in this first reportable hand of the evening, I'm under the gun and look down at probably the worst opening hand I'll play from under the gun. Ace-10 offsuit. Maybe a bit too loose for some in the under the gun position, but I gave it a shot. Viewer be warned, this hand pops up quite a bit in this session and in future sessions that I'll discuss in later vlogs from this trip to Vegas. So I'm under the gun and look down at Ace-10 offsuit. I open for 15 bucks and it folds all the way around to the small blind and makes the call. And the big blind makes the call as well. Pot is 45 bucks and the flop is 2-6-7 with 2 diamonds. Small blind checks, the big blind checks, and I make the check as well. Case could be made to put in some of my poker funds into this pot and take it right here with my position and 2 overcards, but I didn't in this case. The turn is the jack of clubs, and the action checks around again. The river is the 3 of hearts, and the action checks around yet one last time. Pretty unactiony first hand here, but want to give you guys some background on the ace-10. Regardless, the big blind shows king high, small blind shows ace-6 for the pair of sixes, and I lose this one. Fortunately, not a lot lost here with the ace-10, but I could have at least made 30 bucks here had I bet essentially on any street, or not lost 15 bucks had I just folded from under the gun. Lesson learned? Not yet. Okay, in this hand, I'm in the low jack position and look down at ace-8 of spades. I open for 15 bucks, the hijack 3 bets to 45 bucks, and I make the call here. This was a pretty light call, but this particular player played everything and was a very loose player. He was going all in all the time with anything, and I wanted to see a flop against this guy, so I made the call. Pot is a little under 100 bucks, and the flop is 9 queen queen with 2 clubs and 1 spade. I check and the hijack bets 25 bucks. I'll peel one off and make the call. I've got a backdoor spade draw plus an overcard. The turn is the queen of hearts. Okay, I check, and this time the hijack bets 50 bucks. It's about a third of the size of the pot, but at this point I didn't connect with anything and don't think I'm going to take the risk this guy has a potential pocket pair or possibly a better ace, so I make the fold here. Okay, in this hand I started the video a bit late. I'm in the big blind and look down at pocket queen. Both of the red variety. Middle position raises to 15 bucks. It folds around to myself, and I'm definitely bumping this one up. So I 3-bet to 45 bucks, and hijack makes the call. So we are heads up to a flop, which is 3 king king with 2 clubs. Hijack being out of position, and the hijack checks as well. As 2 kings are accounted for on the board, that makes it less likely he has a king in his hand. So I'm thinking he has something like ace jack or ace 10 or maybe a smaller pocket pair. The turn is the 9 of diamonds. This time I bet 50 bucks, a little over half size pot, and the hijack ends up making the fold. So I take this one down. In this hand, I'm on the button and I look down at king queen offsuit. The middle position player opens for 15 bucks. The low jack makes the call, and I make the call here as well. If this were suited, I'd consider possibly putting on the squeeze, but I made the call. Small blind and big blind both fold, so we are 3 ways to a flop, which is jack 6 queen with 2 spades. Middle position player checks, and the low jack bets 25 bucks, about half the size of the pot. I'm definitely not going anywhere with my top pair and pretty strong kicker, so I make the call and the middle position player folds, so we're heads up to a turn, which is the 2 of hearts. This time the low jack puts out a massive bet of 120 bucks, which is about 1.2 times the size of the pot. You know, is my top pair any good here? I'm thinking it's probably not likely. He only called the middle position player's open raise, so I'm thinking he either has 2 pair like queen jack or possibly a set of sixes, maybe a set of jacks. He also bet into 2 players after the flop, which does indicate some strength. So my top pair is likely not good here, and I end up making the fold. Okay, at this point in the session, I added on for an additional 200 bucks. So I'm in the game for a total of $700. In this hand, I'm in the small blind and I look down at ace-king offsuit. Middle position player limps and it folds around to myself. I'm definitely bumping this one up, so I raise it to 20 bucks and the middle position player makes the call. We're heads up to a flop, which is 8-4-5 with 2 hearts. I check being out of position and the middle position player bets 30 bucks. I've got some overcards here and backdoor possibilities, so I make the call. Pot is just over $100 and the turn is the 5 of hearts. Okay, so the front door flush gets there, and now I've got a king high flush potential here. I check, and the middle position player bets 40 bucks. It's a pretty good price to see a river card, so I make the call. River is the 3 of clubs. Okay, so now I've got absolutely nothing. I check and pretty much give up at this point. The middle position player bets 200 bucks, and I'm quickly out of this one. At this point now, I probably would have folded to a $10 bet. He ends up showing jack 9 of hearts for the turn flush. Okay, in this hand, I'm in the big blind and I look down at a pretty one, king queen of spades. The middle position player opens for 15 bucks and it folds all the way around to myself and I make the call. So we are heads up to a flop, which is 7 queen 4 with 2 clubs and 1 spade. Alright, top pair here again with the same kicker as a couple of hands ago. I make my standard out of position check, and the middle position player bets 15 bucks. Of course, I'm going to make the call here, so that's what I do. Turn is the jack of clubs. Alright, so the front door flush gets there. I check, and the middle position player bets 25 bucks. Pretty darn small in relation to the size of the pot, so I make the call. The river is the 6 of spades. I check, and this time the middle position player puts in about a 1.1 times pot size bet here of 125 bucks. Given that he raised in the early position, it's possible he's got aces here. It's also possible he's got a flush, maybe with something like ace jack of clubs or ace 10 of clubs. It's also possible he has 2 pair or a set, but I think that might be a little less likely. But just like that hand from a couple of hands ago, I'll let this one go with my top pair. I think there are just too many combinations that can beat me here. In this hand, I'm on the button and look down at ace 7 offsuit. The under the gun player limps, the hijack limps, and given that I'm in position in a limped pot, I think I'm going to put in the raise here, so that's what I do. I bump this one up to 25 bucks, and the under the gun player is the only one that makes the call. So we are heads up to a flop, which is queen 5-7 with 2 diamonds. The under the gun player checks, and given this is kind of a dryish board, I put out a C bet of 25 bucks, see if I can take this one down right now, so that's what I do. The under the gun player thinks about it for a bit and ends up folding. Quick hand here in a small pot, but glad to at least take something down at this point in the session. Okay, in this hand I'm on the button and I look down at king 10 of hearts. The action folds around to the cutoff, who limps. This guy was a pretty big fish and just lost an all-in pot and had rebought for 300 bucks. So I'm hoping to single this guy out, and I raise to 20 bucks. The small blind and big blind players both get out of the way and the cutoff makes the call. So I get my wish and we're heads up to a flop, which is 10 ace 3 with 2 spades and 1 heart. Cutoff checks, and I've connected a bit with this board, so I put in a C bet of 20 bucks and the cutoff makes the call. Turn is the jack of clubs. The cutoff checks, and this time I check as well. There are a couple of overs to my pair of tens. My backdoor flush potential is now out the window and down the road. River is the 6 of diamonds. Okay, the cutoff checks again, and I check as well. It's possible he has an ace or a jack. And he actually ends up showing ace 8 of diamonds, and I unfortunately lose to this guy. Bummer here. Okay, at this point in the session, I've added on for an additional 200 bucks, so I'm in for a total of $900. In this hand, I'm in the cutoff position, and I look down at king queen of clubs. The middle position player raises to 20 bucks. The hijack calls the 20 bucks, and I think this is a good opportunity to 3-bet here, so that's what I do. I 3-bet to 80 bucks. However, the small blind thinks about this for a solid minute and ends up jamming for his stack of about 800 bucks. Then the middle position player jams for his stack, which is about 560 bucks. The hijack folds and I am absolutely out of this pot, so I definitely fold here. Small blind shows ace king offsuit and the middle position player shows pocket aces. Holy cow. The flop is 2 king 3 with 2 diamonds. The turn is the 6 of clubs and the river is the 9 of hearts. Middle position player ends up taking this massive pot down of just over 1,200 bucks. Man, what a crazy hand. Okay, in this hand I'm on the button and I look down at ace 10 offsuit. It folds all the way around to myself and I raise this one up to 15 bucks. The small blind makes the call and the big blind makes the call as well. So we're 3 ways to a flop, which is 9 queen jack with 2 hearts. Small blind leads for 25 bucks, which is interesting. The big blind makes the call, and of course I'm going to make the call here with my open-ended straight draw, so that's what I do. Case could be made to put in the raise here, but I make the call. The turn is the ace of diamonds. Small blind checks, the big blind checks, and I check as well. Yes, I've got top pair, but I'm getting a free card here to see if I can improve further on the river. The river is the 7 of hearts. Well, I didn't get my straight. Small blind leads again, this time for 35 bucks, which is pretty small in relation to the pot. Big blind folds, and I think it's possible the small blind has 2 pair here, something like queen 9 or jack 9 or maybe queen jack. I don't think he's got an ace, given I've got one in my hand and there's one on the board, so I end up folding here. This kind of feels a bit nitty. I don't know, let me know what you think. I feel like I probably could have made the call given that he did check on the turn. Again, let me know what you think in the comments below. Okay, at this point in the session, I added on for an additional 100 bucks, so I'm in the game for a total of $1,000. In this hand, I'm in the big blind position, and I'll look down at queen jack offsuit. The hijack opens for 20 bucks, the small blind makes the call, and I make the call here as well. Pot is 60 bucks, and the flop is king jack rainbow. Small blind and I both check to the aggressor, and he bets 25 bucks. Small blind calls, and I make the call here as well with my pair of jacks. Odds are one of these guys doesn't have a king, so I might be in pretty good position here. The turn is the 3 of diamonds. Small blind and I both check to the aggressor again, and he ends up checking. The river is the 6 of hearts. Small blind checks again, and this time I think I'm pretty good, so I bet 50 bucks. The hijack folds, and the small blind folds as well, so I end up taking this one down. I'll take it. Okay, in this hand, I'm in the big blind, and I look down at ace-10 offsuit. Yep, again. Middle position player bets $15, the low jack calls, the button calls, the small blind calls, and of course I'm going to make the call here as well, so that's what I do. We are very multi-way into a Texas-sized flop of 10, 6, 5 rainbow. Small blind checks, I check being way out of position, and it ends up checking around. The turn is the 4 of spades. Small blind checks, I still have top pair, top kicker, so this time I'll put in a bet of $25. The middle position player folds, the low jack calls the $25, and both the button and small blind players fold. So we are heads up to a river, which is the 3 of clubs. I lead for $50, and the low jack makes the call. He ends up showing 4 5 of hearts for the turn 2 pair. What the heck? I did not see that one coming. So I'll lose a pot here of just over $200. Big bummer on this one. Okay, in this hand, I'm under the gun, and I look down at ace jack of hearts. I open for $15. Low jack makes the call, and it folds all the way around to the big blind, who makes the call as well. We are 3 ways to a flop, which is 5 king 5 rainbow. Big blind checks, I check, and the low jack bets $20. Big blind calls, and I make the call here as well with my backdoor draws. The turn is the 4 of hearts. Big blind checks, I check again, and the low jack checks as well. The river is the 10 of clubs, so I missed my heart draw and essentially nothing, and I'm pretty much done with this hand. Big blind checks, I check, and the low jack checks again. Big blind ends up showing king 10 of diamonds and actually takes this one down. In this hand, I'm in the under the gun position, and I look down at king queen of spades. I open for $15. The low jack makes the call, and it folds all the way around to the big blind, who makes the call as well. So we are 3 ways to a flop, which is 5, 10, 9 with 2 hearts. Big blind checks, and this time I change things up a bit and bet $25 with my 2 overcards and gut shot straight draw. Low jack makes the call, and the big blind folds. So we are heads up to a turn, which is the jack of diamonds. All right, so I've got the nuts here. Don't want to go too big and want to keep him in the hand, so I bet a little over half the pot, and he makes the call. So the pot is now a little over $200, and the river is the 7 of spades. This time I go for value and jam, which is about the size of the pot here, and unfortunately the low jack folds. Still a decent sized pot, so I'll take it. Okay folks, this is the very next hand. As you can see, I'm still organizing my chips. I'm in the big blind and look down at ace deuce offsuit. Hijack limps, the button raises to $20, the small blind calls the $20, I call the 20, and the hijack calls the 20, so we are multi-way into another Texas-sized flop, which is 2, 5, ace with 2 diamonds. All right, I hit 2 pair here. Big blind checks, I check, and the hijack bets $60, about 3/4 the size of the pot. The big blind calls the $60, and here's where I think a squeeze is definitely warranted. However, if I squeeze for approximately 3 to 4 times the initial bet, that's about $200 and leaves me with less than a pot-sized bet for the turn and river. So I end up jamming here for just under $500, and the hijack calls and the big blind calls. What the heck? Oh man, this can't be good. The pot is nearly $1,500. The turn is the king of clubs, and the river is the 9 of spades. The hijack shows pocket 5s. I show my ace deuce, and the big blind mucks. What on earth? Man, at this point, I feel completely gutted and tilted. Not sure if this was a huge mistake or what, but lost a really big one here. What do you guys think? Should I have jammed here? Regardless, I left after this hand. I couldn't take any more. That was definitely a gut-wrenching hand for sure. All right. So the downswing is real. 3 out of the last 4 sessions, beatdowns. I played 2-5 at Bellagio, and boy, just struggled again. And I don't know if it's bad variance, bad play, or what, but played for about 4 hours, was in for a grand, out for a big goose egg. And to say I'm tilted is a bit of an understatement. But hope you guys enjoyed. Please like and subscribe. Feel free to make comments down below. And thanks for watching.